Hey everybody, from Beantown
Beantown
to
to
your
your
town.
town.
This is Beantown Beatdown. I'm Matthew Barris.
Gabe Thomas, also coming from Beantown.
Yep, gonna crack open these cold ones here.
Nice.
By the way, still a little depressed over the Pats losing to the Broncos. Not watching the Super Bowl this year. I'm just gonna watch it for Coldplay and Beyonce, and that's it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're back. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it has. Actually, we did do an episode, but
Yeah. Then we lost it.
yeah. So hopefully we'll make it through this time.
Mm-hmm.
So get into some headlines.
Yep.
First and foremost, we have a new WBC welterweight champion of the world, Danny Garcia. His second full fight at welterweight, beat Robert the Ghost Guerrero at the Staples Center. It was a great night of fights. I actually got it on my, I actually recorded it on my cell phone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I got some fights on my cell phone. I got that fight. I got the Lawler versus Condit fight. Also interesting that night, three big celebrities were in the house.
Yeah.
Well, actually four. There was Amir Khan, who's looking for a fight sometime in 2016. Second, there was Eddie Murphy.
Oh.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy was there, and actually, yeah, he has a cousin who's a boxer too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've heard that.
Yeah, he has a cousin who's a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
There is also Cuba Gooding Jr. He was there that night as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And also Floyd Mayweather was there as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So a good packed house there.
Yep, and it was a good night of fights, very close fight, a good matchup, and the winner of this fight is definitely going to take on the winner of Thurman versus Porter in March for the WBA welterweight title. So I hope it's Thurman, because I really would like to see Thurman and Garcia get it on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would love to see those two get it on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the second headline, UFC 196 has been pushed back. What was supposed to be UFC 196 on February the 6th has now become a regular Fox Sports 1 fight night for the UFC. Mainly because it's because Cain Velasquez and Fabricio Verdum, who are supposed to have their third fight, I mean their rematch for the heavyweight title, it got canceled because of injuries. They're both injured.
Okay, gotcha.
So the main event on the Fox Sports 1 fight will be Johnny Hendricks, the former welterweight champion, versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and he is a good fighter, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I mean, he's a good karate fighter, has a great karate background. His kicks are amazing. I mean, he could be the next Lyoto Machida. He could be the Lyoto Machida of the welterweight division.
Wow, gotcha.
Yep, and it's supposed to be a good night of fights. As a matter of fact, actually, I think I'll still go to the I'll still go to the bar on Causeway Street. Yeah, the Causeway Bar. That's what I meant to say. The Causeway Bar, and I'm still gonna go there, get my cheese fries, and have my Angry Apple Orchard and watch the fights.
Sweet.
And last but not least, of course, I saw Saturday Night Live. Ronda Rousey.
We both did. It was fantastic.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey was amazing on that. On there, I was kind of expecting them to poke fun at the loss to Holly Holmes, but instead she said, she deserved to win. Congratulations, and
yeah, that was a bit surprising, no?
Yeah, I was expecting it, but as the show went on and it got better, especially with the weekend update, I was like, I kind of forgot about it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I think we all did, and she just did a great job in a lot of the skits, and then there was one that specifically like highlighted her fighting ability. Remember that one where it's like the girl bully of the school is that like plays this bad prank on her. Yeah. She plays this terrible prank on her, and then she looks she did a good job at looking like the hurt puppy, you know. But then as soon as the as soon as that bitch is rubbing it in, then bam, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, Vanessa Bryant. I mean, she is really amazing. She really is going to go far. I mean, she was just in Trainwreck, and she does a great impression of Miley Cyrus, and
yeah, totally.
and Kate McKinnon in the opening when she did like that little thing of Justin Bieber.
Yeah, exactly. Kate McKinnon's classic Justin Bieber. She then was on there with Ronda.
Yeah, and Ronda's pimp smacked her.
Yeah, that was awesome. You can't touch me, bitch. Can't touch me, bitch. And then she's just like. Yeah, she didn't even move the rest of her body.
Yeah, you really think Selena Gomez had something to do with that? You think Selena probably was like, yeah, use that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, speaking of Selena Gomez, I'm still, I still can't get over that second performance she did. The Menage a Trois.
Yeah, exactly. So she went really risque with that. Can't keep my hands to myself. Guy's hands all over her the whole song.
That was amazing, and a great moment for the UFC. The first UFC fighter ever to host Saturday Night Live.
Exactly.
Almost as historic as Hulk Hogan was the first professional wrestler in the WWF at the time to host Saturday Night Live, but when The Rock did it, it was just monumentalist because it was at the peak of the Attitude Era and stuff,
totally.
And having Triple H and the Big Show and Mick Foley on there,
right.
So it was amazing, and I'm sure they're probably going to ask her back when Roadhouse and Mile 22 come out.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking, it's like it is exactly what she needed. She did the right thing to kind of slide back into the entertainment industry and have like a big debut. And like you said, they didn't even talk much about her losing. It was just that one thing that she said. She tackled it on her own terms.
Yeah, and Tina Fey came back too.
Yeah, Tina Fey came back as Sarah Palin, which is just classic.
Yeah, because not too long ago she co-hosted the show with Amy. So
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was good to see her. And by the way, Kate McKinnon, she really does remind me of January Jones. I see both of them. It's like they're almost like twins.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, it says Gabe inspections in 4 minutes.
Yeah. I had to move around a lot of things today, so no, that's an old appointment.
Oh, okay. So it's not the alarm isn't gonna go off or anything.
No, we're good. We're good.
All right. So now we're gonna open the floor to Gabe for Macho Doesn't Mean This. Gabe, go ahead.
Okay, so I talked about this last time in the episode that we lost, but I'm gonna be talking about it's actually Get Over Yourself. Get over yourself. And I'm going to be talking about, the internet. There's, we've seen all sorts of things that the internet can do, and a lot of them lately have been very monumental and very positive. But sometimes they are not. Sometimes they are completely negative. And, when MySpace was getting big, we saw the whole problem, with it's kind of the problems with interacting versus using that tool, and then Facebook, obviously now, Twitter, all these things, they're just tools. They're tools to use, and you can use them in a good, positive way. Like a lot of people say, the Arab Spring in Egypt would, overthrowing this dictator would not have happened, and other countries across the Middle East might not have happened without Twitter. So there's that. But then, there's personal attacks on people. So today I'm going to be talking about saying get over yourself in terms of, if you feel the need to attack someone personally, it's a rotten thing to do, and and actually, it might sound like a trivial issue, and some people still don't understand this thing. It's, oh, that's just a trivial issue, oh, your reputation, that's not so important. Well, maybe it isn't sometimes. Like, to me, I can laugh shit off, that's not important, right? But for some people, some things that happen to them actually are, end up being very important. If people, tear them down, it can be more than just, a little blow. It can be something that, they feel ruins their life. Two examples I have. One, there's Amy. What's her name? I don't remember this girl's name, but there was a moment where she was really big because she told her story about what happened. She was encouraged, sort of goaded into to flashing these guys on a web camera, and it was that would have been harmless enough, I guess. But then, people got wind of it, and then when the whole school found out about it and started broadcasting it, and or something, like they passed it around, and then everyone started making fun of her for that, and then she was outcast. Some girls that would make you cooler, but in her particular situation, that in her an outcast, and again, it might not sound that big, but it became this thing that just, got out of control for her. And she made this video that went viral where she was just holding up signs, one after the other that explained the whole situation. And
yeah, I think I remember that.
You remember that? Yeah. And basically, she was explaining that this stupid little mistake, childish thing, we all do it. We all have childish moments. This one came back and bit her in the ass, and as far as she's concerned, ruined her life. So it's not a small thing when that happens. And these guys and these people at school, I think they're having just a little bit of fun, and they might know that it's at someone's expense, but not think it's that big a deal. But it can be a very big deal. She contemplated suicide from that.
Yeah, that was sad.
Really, really sad. And then similar type of thing, except different issue, when Tyler Clemente was this kid in I believe in New Jersey, which is also a northern state, progressive, right next to near here in Massachusetts, where we've had marriage equality for 14 years.
Yeah.
He was outed by his fellow students. And
I remember that story too.
You remember that? Yeah, he was outed
Yeah.
against his will. There was probably a video involved where he was they were making out with or going further with another guy, and anyway, that the fact that was getting around and that they had this information on him. Blackmail. There's a reason. There's a whole word for this. The word is blackmail. And anyway, once it was out, he actually could not live with himself, and like other gay teens and young adults, he had tragic circumstances. He killed himself. So that's his whole life. That's someone's whole life cut down because of something they don't have any control over, and we've talked about this before, and how it's not cool to beat up on gay people. They don't have control over it, and B, it's about the only thing it's about is love.
Yeah, exactly.
You shouldn't hate on someone because of who they love.
Yeah, and this kind of raises the whole thing of like, is the internet bad? And especially when you have like conservatives and Christians, saying like, the internet is evil and all this stuff. And,
right. I mean, that's the other weird thing, is that it's not to say I agree with these people that are like, ooh, the internet is scary and we should shelter people. Like I said before, it's a tool that can be used for great things.
Well, yeah, it's like, it's like I said, I told people this. We have to look at the internet like this nuclear bomb. Like a nuclear bomb, yeah, it can do damage, but it's not a matter if it's good or bad. It's just a matter of who we put it in the hands of.
Right.
Now, granted,
maybe you mean nuclear material. That might be a better thing for this metaphor. It's the nuclear material, because you can make nuclear power out of nuclear material, which some people say is much more efficient.
Okay, I was kind of going with the military point of view.
Well, anyway.
But the thing is, it's like, it's who you put it in the hands of.
Right.
Now granted, it's like some can use it for good, some can use it for evil, what have you.
Right.
It's like, if you put the internet in the hands of, well, for example, if you put it in the hands of my niece,
Hmm.
I mean, you're gonna see like I don't know, like Taylor Swift because she loves Taylor Swift. She,
Right.
the cartoon Uncle Grandpa, and maybe some some pictures of herself, dancing or whatever.
Maybe
Now,
cat videos.
yeah, or cat videos.
Hmm.
She actually has a cat. Now, if you put it in the hands, of us,
Hmm.
well, of course, we have the Beantown Beatdown on Facebook. You're gonna see lots of pictures of fighters and blogs about fightings and fights and stuff
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, I just posted a new
Post a
blog.
new blog. Yep,
Yep,
we're
it's
on the
called
way.
"Think Not of the Children." It's
Hmm.
a good blog. Check it out on Facebook.
Hmm.
Now, if you put the internet in the hands of a Christian Grey type of dude, you're gonna see a website of women being chained to a bed, blindfolded, and getting whipped.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, and yeah, I guess and the thing is, it's like that type of thing. There's you might not like it. We've talked about this before with sexual violence and sex. You might not personally like it. You might not be comfortable with it. But as long as it's consensual, and as long as it's adults,
Yeah,
that type of thing, it's not actually hurting anyone. And I think the great thing about the internet is that it gives everyone their own realm to do that type of thing.
yeah,
Do
I
the thing
mean,
that they want to do.
yeah, but legal consensual stuff. I'm not down with the child pornography and the
No.
women fucking animals and stuff
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
I'm not down with that.
Right. I mean, yeah. So that gets into the type of thing I was talking about. If it hurts someone or ruins someone else's life, then that's not okay.
Yeah, or like
So
those
child pornography, it can't help but ruin someone else's life.
yeah, or like those those videos of parents they'll humiliate their kid by like
Hmm.
like posting a video on YouTube or Facebook of them like getting bad haircuts or them
Hmm.
or beating them with a belt or
Hmm.
or like they'll follow them to school and be like, yeah, we're gonna put this on Facebook because she
Yeah,
doesn't go to
I remember that
school.
one. I remember
Yeah,
that one. The mother is like, I'm gonna follow you around now, and I'm gonna put this on Facebook or YouTube,
yeah, it's
whatever.
like, yeah, my thing on here's the thing on discipline. I mean, because like we could open up a can of worms of what to do and what not to do with kids, but
Right.
and I don't really want to open that can of worms, but I do
Hmm.
want to say this. When it comes to discipline, look, just keep it behind closed doors.
Right.
I mean, certain things should just stay behind closed doors. I mean, when it comes to disciplining, look, keep it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
You're humiliating your child. You're setting your child up for humiliation
Yep.
and bullying
Yep.
and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
people are
That's kind of where I thought she went too far. It's like and even if you're gonna go with your like I could almost say if it really was that bad, the daughter was skipping out and whatever, then maybe go there to the school. But that's kind of a gray area, because then the kids know, all the kids at school know, but at least the wider world doesn't also know. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
I
mean,
think I think she went too far to go to school and post it on YouTube. You know what I mean?
yeah, and people will say like, well, she needs to learn humility, and plus, the ones who make fun of them, well, they're not really her friends, and she'll
Hmm.
get over this. But you know what? Here's the thing. That kids are cruel.
Right.
Kids are cruel. Even with
Hmm.
today, with the anti-bullying thing, there's still a mountain we have to get over with bullying.
Exactly.
So, so by humiliating children online, regardless of what bad stuff they do,
Hmm.
you're opening a Pandora's box
Exactly.
of new types of bullying and stuff like
Hmm.
that.
Exactly.
So that's
I
why
agree.
I say to people, and I'm not even down with the humiliating haircuts, where they give them like one the Sherman Helmsley haircut they give to kids and stuff like that. I'm not down with that.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
look, it's like I say, look, you know, it's supposed to teach them a lesson, not to humiliate them.
Hmm.
And I know even Bruce Lee said that the greatest thing a martial artist can learn is humility.
Right.
But even humility has a has a limit.
Has a limit.
There's
Exactly.
there's a line you don't cross.
Exactly. I agree. I agree. And like you said, it could open up the door to more types of bullying, especially with the internet, if the wider world knows. And the thing is, the other thing I was gonna say with this is that kind of the problem when you make something public like that is that then people think it's their business. That's the other problem with all of this is not some things are not your business. Some things that have to do with someone else's life, are not actually your business. And to say something, it might seem tough or cool to say something just completely derogatory or that cuts them down, but it's one thing to it's not brave to do that behind the keys of a message board. It's not brave to do that behind your computer. People can say the most vile. There was a reason they started policing like comments on YouTube. Like people can say the most vile shit, behind the keys of a computer and not have to deal with any of the consequences. Say some old time things actually are the best. Say it to their face. If you can say it to their face, then you can butt in on the internet and make it your business. But if you wouldn't say it to their face, don't fucking type it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I said, just certain things just they should just stay behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like there was one video of the kid who got beaten with a belt by his uncle because he said on his Facebook page that he was part of a gang and he really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, eventually he got killed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like yeah, it was kind of funny at first, but then I started thinking like, you know what, this is just this kid could be humiliated and
Mm-hmm.
and I just said, and whenever I see videos like this, or some other videos of parents just humiliating their kids, it's just like just keep it behind closed doors. That's not parenting. I mean, I know I shouldn't throw
We
a
shouldn't
rock.
start saying what
Yeah, I
parenting
shouldn't.
is.
Yeah, I shouldn't throw a rock in a glass house because I'm not a parent. But
Right.
it's just like certain things, should just stay behind closed doors, and
Yeah, exactly.
just keep it behind closed doors. And that's why I always say, the internet is not bad. It's just a matter of who we put it in the hands of. And those
Right.
parents who humiliate their kids online, the internet should be taken out of their hands. There should be like
Good
a
point.
like a commando SWAT team, or Chuck, like Chuck
Right,
Norris in the
exactly.
Delta Force.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like get away from there, get away, move, move.
Move. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I mean, and that is the other thing is that yeah, they like I said, they make it parents that do this, they humiliate their child. Yes, child should learn humility, and it is tough. I understand it is tough. Like some kids are completely bratty. Some kids are complete assholes because they don't know the lines. But the thing is, they're kids. You're adults. If you're put it online, you're saying that it might be okay for someone else who has nothing to do with this to make it their business. That kid, that is a good example because that kid is doing something wrong and dangerous to say he's in a gang. Like I know it's cool, but it's also like he doesn't know that there's a whole underbelly there, and that could actually be very dangerous and wrong to do that. But he's a kid. He doesn't know. He wants to do things that are cool. He wants to be accepted in certain ways, and he doesn't know the consequences yet. So yes, you have to teach him the consequences, and you might need a very firm hand to do that. But you're the adult. You shouldn't then bring it into an arena where other people can make it their business and put him in more danger.
Yeah, it's like don't stoop down to that level.
Right,
it's like
exactly. You're also stooping to his level.
Because it's fair. Because you're also telling your kids like, don't stoop down to that person's level. Make them come up to your level, and that's what you gotta do. You gotta bring them up to your level.
Exactly.
You posting something embarrassing embarrassing them on the internet. That's stooping. That's really stooping down to their level. It's
exactly.
like bring them up to your level.
Exactly. Good point.
Exactly. So. All right. I think we've covered
Covered
that.
that. I think we're
Yep.
good.
Yep. So now we're gonna get into chew on this,
hmm
and for chew on this, we're gonna be talking about when should a fight be stopped. We'll actually be doing another video of this.
Right. This might be, yeah, this will be a continuing topic for a little while.
Yeah. Now, we're gonna look at well. Here's two examples of fights. Gotti Ward won, and Chavez versus Taylor won. Chavez and Taylor we talked about when we talked about the unsung heroes of boxing. We talked about Meldrick Taylor. We talked about
Right.
the anniversary of Julio Cesar Chavez versus Meldrick Taylor, and and we're just trying to. We're the thing is, it's when should a fight be stopped?
Yeah, and it's not an easy subject.
Yeah, because as a referee, Mills Lane said it best. As a referee, you only have a split second when a fighter's in trouble to make a split second decision, and sometimes it's the right decision, sometimes it's the wrong decision.
Right. Exactly.
So what? So
yeah. So
yeah.
as I'm the one who's coming in from an outsider's perspective, it was very interesting of me to watch these highlights. I haven't watched much more than the highlights of either of these fights, but I have watched that, and it is kind of fascinating to see, and as I'm going to be watching more fights, I'm interested in what kind of separates these two. These were the first two that you told me to look at when we were going to cover this subject, so I kind of want to think about that. With Gotti Ward, it was almost like and I said this before. It was almost like it wasn't that it should have been stopped from being too brutal. It was almost like it should have been stopped because they were like slowing down and lagging, and I was actually surprised that maybe it was actually going too slow by the end. They had both been trying to wear each other out, and so they were almost like leaning on each other.
Well, the thing is, that's what happens in in a sport like that. Those hard punches and stuff. It just zaps your energy.
Right. Yeah.
And stuff like that. So
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I haven't seen as much of that, so that's probably a more common thing. But yeah. So I mean, that one is almost like that one. I would say that the brutal factor probably wasn't even there. I mean, I don't know. Like I thought. Wait, who won again?
Ward.
Ward, yeah. I thought Gotti was, gonna win for the first like three, 4 rounds. He was really holding his own,
and then of course there came the point deduction for the low blow, and then Ward came back with a knockdown. I mean, and of course in the middle of that fight, as they were just slugging it out, and Jim Lampley said, "Stop it, Frank. You can stop it any time."
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I mean that's one where even as a sensitive outsider, I would not have said that should have been stopped for concern of the fighters, but maybe it should have been stopped for like the fans and like the reputation of the fighters, that type of thing.
Well,
you know what I'm getting at.
Well, yeah, I know what you're getting at, but I don't think but they don't stop fights because of if a fight slows down. I mean,
well, true, but yeah, okay. So I mean, I guess I kind of agree with how that one went.
Yeah. Now the Chavez versus Taylor fight. Well, what was your take on it? Because you saw the highlights of the fight and stuff.
Right.
I mean, I've seen that fight, the whole fight, like probably 1,000 times by now. So,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, my take was that Taylor was like, it was the same type of thing. Taylor had a strong showing, like, I actually was pretty convinced he was going to win, not just in the early rounds, like, most of the way through. So that I think that that's probably what makes it like, controversial. I remember them saying, "Oh, 5 seconds left on the round," that type of thing.
Yeah.
So there's that. I guess I do like that he was that he was checking in with him, like when he was like right after the knockout, which, by the way, surprising knockout from Chavez.
Well, yeah, because what happened was, the referee was, Richard Steele. He was like asking him, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Right.
And Taylor didn't respond. Taylor was like distracted by Lou Duva on his trainer on the ring apron.
Right.
And Richard Steele also, thought that the fight, the guy he had enough because there was, I mean, if you look at Taylor's face, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he had a bloody nose. He had two black eyes. I mean, his face was swollen. I mean, I said this before when we were talking about the fight on the anniversary of it. It looked like his, it looked like he was trying to make out with a bullet train. His face. And then
exactly. So I mean, yeah, we talked about this before. I think you said, what, by the time you have two black eyes and whatever, like, and there's blood coming out of your nose, that's
and then on top of that, look at the internal injuries, and because later on they said after the fight, when they checked on him, he had some facial tissue damage. He had blood in his urine too. Because because he was taking a lot of body damage, and
right.
And then your kidneys start bleeding. So if he's pissing blood, you look at it, it's like, that saying, hindsight is 20/20, and in 2020 it's like, yeah, they deserve to stop that fight.
Right, exactly. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it won't always translate to what you're watching. If you're a fan watching it, that type of thing doesn't translate to it. I guess I've been surprised with both of these fights how how even though there's the complete injuries that wear them down, that it doesn't quite translate. And watching it, you might think, as a casual observer, casual fan that I am, you might think that that everything's okay, and it looks all right, that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I remember watching the I also watched the thing on HBO when they the tale of Chavez versus Taylor, and and I just remember Richard Steele, he said, like, because they were they had interviews and they would go to the fight, and Richard Steele, being the referee in there, he said Chavez, he was landing those shots that break bones. And just looking at that fight, I mean, the damage that Julio Cesar Chavez was doing with those punches, because like Julio Cesar Chavez was not like a Mike Tyson type of dude, where he knock you out with one punch. I mean,
yeah,
his thing was like his punches wore you down.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, his punches wore you down, and you look at.
So it's like you wouldn't even think about it at first. Yeah, and I mean like a round or two before that, he was the one who had to have encouragement. I remember one of the things I saw on that was that his fans, his countrymen, as the announcers say, started chanting Mexico.
Yeah.
And,
well, yeah, there was a lot.
It's because he was. It looked like he was the one that was getting worn down for a little while.
Well, yeah, because the Mexican fans were definitely in attendance that night. And, and the thing was, Meldrick Taylor was, in the early rounds, he was fast, he was quick. He had, he just had that speed. At one point he was considered the next Sugar Ray Leonard. But the thing is, Meldrick Taylor was a Philadelphia fighter, Philly fighter, and Philly fighters, they have a tendency to brawl and mix it up and stuff like that, and like that Joe Frazier type of thing. And they said that Meldrick Taylor, wanted to be like Joe Frazier, and and you could, because he had a tendency to brawl when it didn't work to his advantage, but it's like that Philly fighter thing, especially in the gym, they'd have the so-called gym wars, and Taylor, he was doing good, but then he just stood in front of him and just started brawling, and also Chavez was doing a lot of damage to the body. When you do damage to the body, the fighters who do like that ollie Sugar Ray Leonard style of moving and in and out, jab,
Mm-hmm.
jab, cross and and all that stuff. Eventually they slow down when you start delivering body punches because eventually they slow down. They don't move as quick as they do, and that's what happened with Meldrick Taylor in that fight,
Right.
and you see, and you learn. And you learn about the damage he took afterwards. The internal injuries as well as the internal injuries, the external injuries,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at what happened later on in his career. Being punch drunk, taking a lot of damage, especially in the rematch they had like in '94 when it was a one-sided ass whooping. It was like you're thinking like, yeah, that fight really did. That fight really should have been stopped.
Right, right. Yeah, and so yeah, it's one of those things where even though I say I'm surprised that it wasn't like outward concern for the fighter. There's still all sorts of stuff that you have to consider, and the referee has a very hard job, like you just said, of having to consider all these things. It's kind of like. There's this movie that's up for the Oscars now, that the movie Concussion is about that whole thing with football, and that people didn't want to believe that there was brain damage in football and stuff, and now we've been talking about it a lot lately, but doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of resistance to that idea, and again, just because it doesn't translate to you watching at home doesn't mean that it's not like a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, the human body is just, I mean, the human brain, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just not is not meant to take punishment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the human body, the rest of the human body, it can like get used to like throwing punches, and you see the stuff in mixed martial arts.
Right.
The body is designed for certain things.
Right.
For certain athleticism. Even some people say that the body isn't designed for professional wrestling. With the going through the ladders and the chairs and the tables and
Yeah.
the thumbtacks
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, and being on the road for almost 365 days of the year, and taking bumps and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you look at that, you're just like, it really does put things in perspective.
Right.
But it
It
takes
does.
it takes hindsight. It may take a while, but again, it took hindsight.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah, it is interesting to think about it that way, because the body, I think there are a lot of things that the torso is made for, and that taking punches is one of them, whereas your head, not so much, and yeah, so I do, like, again, I do agree with where they ended the Taylor fight. I think it was probably the right call on Gotti as well, but I guess so far I've been surprised that that there hasn't been as much of the brutal factor. What I expected was to be super concerned for a fighter and be like, oh man, they should have stopped it. You know what I mean? Like for his safety and everything, and like yeah, I guess Kendra Taylor didn't look that good, but it's not like he was. I don't know. It wasn't like he was outwardly. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't outwardly as gruesome as you'd expect, I guess.
Yeah, but that's the thing of being a referee, and being a referee in combat sports is a lot different from being a referee in basketball or hockey or football.
Even football, yeah.
Where they can use, where sometimes they use replays to get it right and say like, okay, we made a bad call and what have you. But it's because in combat sports, because it's so fast paced, quick, and you want. And because of the fans, there's always concern of fans' enjoyment. It's almost like, you really do have to live and die with a decision you make.
Right, exactly.
And Also, one more quick thing. I just wanted to say this while it's on my mind. I know I said UFC 196 was moved. I mean, the fight that was supposed to happen February 6th is now a Fox Sports 1 fight. But the Holly Holmes' next fight, is going to be is now being called UFC 196. It was supposed to be UFC 197. Now it got changed to UFC 196.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the card with Holly Holmes versus Misha Tate, and of course the main event, Conor McGregor moving up to, the featherweight champion, now moving up to lightweight, taking on the lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos. So, I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Still going to be a good fight. But getting back to what we were talking about, those are two of one of the best boxing matches I've ever seen, and Taylor and Gotti Ward won. I mean, that really is a throwback to the fights of the 50s.
Right.
DeMarco and Basilio, Robinson and Graziano, or Graziano and Zale. Those three fights, those are just wars, man, where it's blood and guts, and from the 50s. I mean, it's changed a lot since the 50s. There isn't really much of those types of fights anymore, but this one was as close as it was to the 50s.
That makes sense.
The 40s and the 50s.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna end it here. Comment on our YouTube page, Bloody Knuckles TV.
Yep.
Also look for us on the Beantown Beatdown. Also check out my blog, Fighting Words. Check it out. Comment, subscribe. And Patriot fans, don't worry. There's always next year.
There's always next year. All right. So from Beantown to your town.
Beantown Beatdown. Vios con Dios.